Hello, this is Robert Peters, Vice President of National Dropout Prevention Center, NDPC, and I have the acclaimed Dr. Ray McNulty here. That we're going to be talking about what we consider this myth of dropout prevention, like this miscommunication of dropout prevention.
Yep.
Everyone thinks that dropout prevention is directly connected to high school, right? And secondary. But as we begin to talk, Ray, we've gotten a lot of folks connecting in the community. We've got a lot of folks at the high school and middle school level, but let's talk about the myth of dropout prevention and the importance of our concentrated efforts on a K12 approach. Let's start that conversation. What are your thoughts?
It's actually, I almost get to say it's preschool, it's whenever we can get a hold of kids. So Robert, what's really important for people to understand is all too often, and I was chairman of the National Dropout Prevention Board for a while, and we'd go to the conference and there'd be all these people there from high school.
Right.
And in the high school, we want graduation coaches. Well, guess what? The whole K12 system's focused on graduating everybody. Right. And it's not, graduation is not about the high school, it's about the K12 pipeline. And we've got kids, we know from the data. I was commissioner of education in Vermont. When I was commissioner of education in Vermont, we used to give data to the Department of Public Safety about our K-3 population.
Right.
High attendance, kids that are missing school a lot, kids failing classes, number of classes failed. We would look at that data up to from kindergarten to third grade in order to predict the future need in the state of Vermont for prison cells.
Right.
And it's a pipeline that's feeding the system. It is so important to realize that dropout prevention begins at the start of their educational experience.
Exactly.
And we've got to be engaged with these kids. We've got to know who they are. We've got to provide the right kind of support. And at the now NDPC's work is not about high school. It's about the whole pipeline.
Right.
That's so important for people to realize.
Definitely. It's Ray, as we begin, when you talk about the indicators, right? And it's been this traditional indicator that third grade reading is like, okay, this is
it's a big one.
Right. But we understand, listen, the indicator for the pre-indicator for third grade is pre-K, right?
Yes.
Right. There are elementary principals out there right now that in their pre-K, there are pre-K teachers that are right now that understand, okay, this child needs more than this child, right? Literacy, right? At the literacy levels, the early literacy levels are those pre-indicators. So for us to wait until a child is in high school to start talking about prevention, right, is ludicrous, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't wait until the end of anything to get started on something. You've got to start at the pre-K. As elementary principals, teachers, staff members, we have to start pre-K kinder. When my child was in kinder, and I knew if he could read or not, if he was having issues. And we know that if your child is having issues in reading in pre-K, kinder, right? If they're having first grade, folks, it's going to get harder second grade. And when they get to third grade, we understand in all states that if a child is at the end of their third grade year and they are not successful in those reading assessments or successful in reading, folks, they're going to be having a hard time. And it is incumbent on us to begin to work secondary, almost in that pre-K year. So I know that we're working with folks like Waterford to really look at literacy and what it really looks like in that pre-kinder, and then how we can connect families. So, this is
Ben Houston at Waterford is a brilliant guy, and he's so dedicated. He knows the importance of success by design. We know the things that we could do in the early years to really help kids. Definitely. And it's got to be part of it. Now, are there kids that will, that we need to give more time to? Absolutely. This is not, you have to think about this as a marathon, right? And some kids are going to take more time than others to get to the finish line. I get it. But the fact is, there are things that we know that they need to be wrapped around them. And when we talk about this kind of work, it's a pipeline of work.
Sure.
And what I want people to understand is when you hear about, the national October is National Dropout Prevention Month.
Right.
And in this October will be our 32nd National Dropout Prevention Conference. And this is a conference where some of the best and the brightest minds about how we can take that pipeline and make it work for each and every one of our kids. That's where you come to really get into the work and understand the depth of work. Because when I was a superintendent, I would tell my kindergarten teachers, I want you to go to high school graduation.
Sure.
I put them in the front row.
That's it.
I put them in the front row with the faculty because they were part of it. All of our teachers are part of the graduation in the district. Everybody should go, and everybody should be connected to understand what we know at the National Dropout Prevention Center about increasing the graduation rate for all of our kids.
Right.
Each and every one of them.
But the myth, not just starting in high school, right? We got to start all the way in elementary. As we know, a lot of you guys across the country, right? You've got pre-kinders going to colleges and saying senior 2035, right?
Yeah.
At this conference, we're going to be having elementary presenters. We're going to have middle school presenters. We're going to have high school presenters. We've got resources. This is an opportunity for you to be connected to the NDPC community and really talking about what strategies work in an urban, rural, suburban environment for all children. And when we say all, we means all, right? So it is, the myth is, okay, let's focus on 9th grade, right? The myth is, okay, we've got this center that we can do some credit recovery. But folks, it's too late by then, right? Let's begin at pre-kinder, right? Let's begin to build structures within systems that we can work with those children at what I consider the root. So, hey, if you are doing some amazing things, hit us up in the following link. Hit us up in the chat. We would love to connect with you, get you online, talking about those great strategies that you're doing in your school for prevention to ensure that all children are successful. So, like always, we've got a series. It's going to be Dr. Ray McNulty and Dr. Robert Peters. We're going to call ourselves R&R, right?
R&R.
R&R. And what we're going to be doing is bringing some great strategies, crisp videos, 5 minutes, and getting everyone connected to great schools across the country. So thank you for tuning in. If you want to get connected, let us know in the link in the chat, folks, and we're looking forward to seeing you all.
Yeah, and if you've got time in that link, we'll also drop in the registration, October 9th and 12th to the 12th in Atlanta.
Yes.
In Atlanta at the Peachtree Weston. We're going to be there. It's going to be the 32nd annual National Dropout Prevention Conference.
All right. So folks, the myth is just that. It's a myth. We're looking forward to talking with you in October. All right. Thanks a bunch for tuning in. And hey, we've got some more great opportunities in the future to connect with us. Thank you.